So in this video, I want to show you the process in how I created one of my tracks, from the initial ideas and to the final track. So firstly, I'm going to show you my initial idea. I thought it would be great to have a kind of moving sort of bass line feel. So I recorded that on my phone. So not the most interesting, but from that initial idea, I started to build the roadblocks, I guess you could say, of the track. So we'll move over into Logic and I'll show you my initial project. First of all, I'm going to show you the bass part that I started with on my phone. So this is it. That was the bass part, and then I added in a kick and some claps, and that was the groove that pretty much was what I finished with. So that was my groove, and I'm just going to play you the start of the track. So this is the sort of first draft, I guess, of movement. I was just trying to layer parts here, really. I wasn't really worried about how they sounded, whether they were all really in time. It was just about laying down ideas. And then I came in with a vocal idea, which is here. So at the moment, it's not really sounding like the finished track. So what I did was I had that idea, that sort of feel, and then I wanted to go to a different section. This was the next section I did, so I'll give a bit of a run in. And that was the second section I came up with, and after a while of playing around with it, I felt like actually this is better than what I already had. You'll notice just snuck in there is that bass melody. If I just play that with the drums. And that became the vocal line, which happens later on in this track. So if I just play a little bit further on. So what I did was layer a load of different parts and really just try and write what came to my head at the time, really what felt right, and in the end I used the second section of this that I came up with after the first section as really the main idea for my track. And that often happens. Sometimes I will write a part and in the end I probably will scrap it, but actually that writing of that part helps me get to the next one. So it's all about writing, enjoying the writing process, and finding some really cool ideas in that. So now I'll head over to the final project and show you a little bit how that came together. Now there are a lot of sounds, there are a lot of instruments, there are a lot of things going on, but I don't really want to concentrate on that in this video. What I want to show you really is how I got from the first initial bass line on my phone to coming up with the track in its final form. What I'd like to show you first is the kick and the snare tracks that are the same from the draft, which I showed you a little bit earlier. So if I just play those. So that is the same as what was on that original track. And now some of the synths and the feedback guitars. Again, I think I used some of these feedback guitars that were in the original draft. Before coming in with that chord sequence, I wanted to, I guess, build up to that. So I started on the root, so I'm just going to play it from the start. And so it's just building on that root chord. Probably play around with a couple of vocal ideas and ended up with that melody which actually goes throughout the whole track. So keeping on with that movement theme, I just wanted parts to come in and out. You see you've got feedback guitars coming in, you've got synths coming in here, just to keep the whole thing moving. And then a little bit later the bass comes in. Really, it's about layering parts and just writing when you feel in that creative space. Just add stuff in. There's certainly things here that I've deleted and gone back to and changed. And actually, the process is all about writing and being creative. This is a bit of an overview, I guess, of this without going into too much detail. I hope it's helpful. I hope it's useful. I'm going to play from when the main idea really comes in. One of the main ideas that I like in this is that moving piano part, which is here, I think. So. Moving on, that bass part, the bass melody. So I just want to play that in itself. So originally in the draft, that was just on a bass, and then I recorded the vocals, and hopefully it just adds a bit more sort of movement in the track and just adds a bit more interest. So if I at that point, I introduced some drums. I felt like the drums weren't quite moving it enough, but I wanted to keep the same pattern. So under it all, I put a drum kit done in Native Instruments Abbey Road Modern Drummer, which I really like. So this is it. So hopefully you can just hear it adds a little bit more groove into the drum track. And then really, I just keep adding parts. So more guitar parts come in, big delay guitar parts, and it finishes with these guitar parts here. And that really finishes this video. Hopefully that overview of the writing process has just given you some inspiration, some ideas for your own writing. What I would say is just enjoy the process. Even from an initial idea, even if it's just one note, you can go from that one note into a full track if you just keep going, you keep practicing. Of course, this track is now mixed. I've edited each part, but the writing process is all about getting ideas out there, and you'll be amazed to see where one idea can get you. So I really hope that was useful. Please subscribe to my channel for future videos, and happy being creative.